Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your news edition. These are the headlines. Algeria is back to the Football World Cup with an amazing qualification journey. The national team entered its qualification campaign with a victory, and the crowds marked the event with an atmosphere full of pride and joy. Celebration time in Algeria. Supporters across the country celebrate this qualification. Exclusive footage with the national television. The fault of the French government reflects the deep political crisis, and the French people is still waiting for answers for their demands of social justice. In Morocco, the social wrath keeps increasing as the Gen Z 212 movement continues its fight for social justice. Welcome back. 2 editions after its last participation to the World Cup, the national football team is finally qualified to the most prestigious sports tournament. After ensuring its qualification last Thursday following its win against Somalia 3-0, Algeria continued its winning series with an important victory against Uganda in the 8 Ahmed Stadium in Tizi Ouzou, as the speedster Mohamed Amin Amoura managed to score 2 goals, thus becoming the top scorer of the African qualifying campaign. Now it's celebration time.
وضعوا القدمين في مونديال 2026 مونديال النشيد الوطني. يا سلام على الرايه الوطنيه. رياض محرز ضيعها هشام، انطلاقه صعبه لمصلحه المنتخب اوغندا والهدف الاول في غفله دفاعيه. جزاء محمد امين عمورة يرسم اجمل صوره وللمنتخب محمد امين عمورة. الثاني عمورة أجمل صورة وتسجل الثنائية للمنتخب الوطني الجزائري. الأولى وضعتها على اليمين ومن تنشط هناك. واللحظة مشاهدينا الكرام يعلن حكم الموعد دائما من أجل تقديم الإضافة. يتجهون للجماهير. الفرحة الكبيرة جدا. تقديم الإضافة لا تلعب. وهكذا هي الأجواء في الصورة العلمية.
Very beautiful. The Counselor of the President of the Republic, Head of the General Directorate of Communication, Kamal Sidi Said, with the Minister of Sport, Walid Sadi, the General Director of National Security, Mr. Ali Badawi, and the Governor of the province of Tizi Ouzou, Abu Bakr Siddiq Boussetta, have visited the Ugandan goalkeeper who was admitted to the Tizi Ouzou hospital after an injury. He has succumbed after the impact with the Algerian player Amin Gouiri during the match between the national teams. Quick recovery to the goalkeeper. After the final whistle, the Hussein Ahmed Stadium witnessed an explosion of joy, a unique atmosphere celebrating this historical qualification.
والفخر. عدنا إلى المونديال. نعم عدنا إلى المونديال. أجواء رائعة تصنعها جماهير الجزائرية والاحتفال بالعودة إلى المحفل العالمي إلى المونديال. الجزائر تصنع التاريخ مجددا للمرة الخامسة في تاريخها. ستكون بصمة في وستكون بصمة في كأس أفريقيا، وستكون بصمة في كأس العرب. هي الاحتفالات تنطلق، هي الاحتفالات تنطلق. كل اللاعبين يستحقون التحية، المدرب، اللاعبين، نعم الطاقم الفني بقيادة هذا الأسطورة رياض محرز بعدما انقادنا بالفوز بكأس أفريقيا. ويقودون مجددا للعودة إلى كأس العالم.
ستبدأ الأفراح والاحتفالات هنا من ملعب المجاهد الراحل حسين نايد حمد.
It was also the occasion for the players to celebrate this qualification in the stadium with the supporters, a celebration full of authenticity and passion.
لكن غزمت عيلاني وديان لما غيطرها غالين مديون لكن غزمت عيلاني وديان لكن غزمت عيلاني وديان لما غيطرها غالين عالم مالكا قالوا لي قريبة وانتي ياكل وردة أرضك مسخية ودماء الشهداء نحيم روحي ونعطي لك زيادة ولاد فاطمة الزومر من بكري زيادة عايش في غابة وجامي نهضر فيها
أسلع زيته يا بحري ذوق البرد نتمنى أسلع زيته يا بحري الساقد والسنير
And this qualification made everyone happy and was celebrated by all the Algerians in various regions of the country. And after missing the 2018 World Cup in Russia and the 2022 edition in Qatar, the national football team is back to the most prestigious tournament with new young players ready to do their best to honor the national colors at the 2026 World Cup in USA, Canada and Mexico. More details with Rafiq Hamidash.
It's been a campaign marked by resilience, flair and national pride. After missing out the last two World Cups, Algeria has returned to the global stage, qualifying for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Drawn into Group G alongside Uganda, Mozambique, Niger, Botswana and Somalia, Algeria faced a mix of emerging challenges and familiar rivals too. And from the very first whistle, Algeria set the tone for a dominant campaign with a back-to-back victories against Botswana and Mozambique. The team looked sharp and hungry for redemption. And the early goals were scored by Riyad Mahrez and the young talented Mohamed Amoura. But the competition was not over yet. A tense away fixture in Kampala saw Algeria held to a draw by Uganda, a reminder that qualification would not come easily, but the squad responded with gritty win over Niger, showcasing their defensive solidity and tactical discipline led by Mohamed Amoura, who emerged as a revelation up front, scoring crucial goals and injecting pace into the attack alongside Riyad Mahrez, combining experience with creativity. While in the midfield, Nabil Bentaleb and Hisham Boudaoui provided the balance and control needed for the game. The next game that took place at Hossein Ahmed Stadium, Mahrez's teammates were keenly aware that putting the game to bed would seal their place in the World Cup. And indeed, that's what they did last Thursday, delivering emphatically a 3-0 triumph, with Amoura netting twice and Mahrez adding a third. Qualification was then definitely secured with one match to spare and an impressive record with 8 games played, 7 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat, 22 points, top of Group G, ending up as one of the tightest defences in the group and the best attack in the African qualifiers competition. With a talented squad and renewed belief, Algeria now looks ahead to North America. The 2026 World Cup awaits and the Desert Foxes are ready to roar once more.
Tasked by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, the State Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, arrived in Kampala, the capital of Uganda, to take part in the works of the 19th Ministerial Meeting of the Non-Aligned Movement. This two-day meeting that will start on Wednesday under the theme Deepening the Cooperation for a Shared Global Prosperity will be dedicated to the review of the progress achieved in the implementation of the conclusions of the Non-Aligned Movement Summit in Kampala in January 2024. The ministers will also discuss the ways that will allow the movement to play an actual role to face the growing challenges around the world with respect to the priorities and interests of the southern countries. Tasked by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Minister of Energy and Renewable Energy, Morad Adjal, arrived in the Republic of Mozambique with the Vice President of the Sinatra Group, the President of the Economic Renewal, and the Director of the Sidal Group. The delegation was welcomed by the advisor of the Mozambican President and the Algerian Ambassador to Mozambique, as well as the Mozambican Ambassador to Algeria. This visit is an occasion to discuss the bilateral cooperation and the ways to reinforce it. The permanent representative of Algeria at the United Nations, Ammar Benjama, delivered a speech on the situation in Libya on the behalf of the A3+ group, during which he hailed the important achievements of the National Unity Government and the Presidential Council that led to an agreement that decreased the tension in the capital. Benjama added that this agreement guarantees the handover of the essential infrastructures to the state institutions, which prohibits all forms of militarization in various regions. The A3+ group supports the ongoing efforts to promote the security sector reform and dismantle the outlaw military groups. It also looks forward to completing the second phase of municipal elections in 16 municipalities on October 18th and starting the third phase on October 20th. Benjamin expressed the group's concern about the difficult economic conditions in Libya due to the continued absence of a unified budget and commended the decision of the President of the Presidential Council to launch a comprehensive financial review process in the oil and electricity sectors. He also expressed the concern regarding the non-implementation of the paragraph 14 of the 6927 decision that allows the investment authority in Libya to invest in the frozen cash reserve. Benjamin affirmed that the political solution in Libya remains elusive because of foreign interventions that are becoming increasingly dangerous due to the influx of weapons, and demanded the immediate withdrawal of all foreign forces and mercenaries from Libya. Even after the ceasefire last Tuesday, occupied Palestine still undergoes major violations, with the majority of humanitarian aid blocked to this day and the Zionist occupation still shooting civilians. Palestinians still suffer. More details with Manal Boubagara.
War is still not over in Palestine, although it's a tough pill to swallow, especially after the announced ceasefire between Hamas and the Zionist entity and the return of Gazians in their destroyed hometown. The truth is, civilians are still the victims of the Zionist shootings and a major aid blockage. With 173 aid trucks available in Gaza only, out of the 600 that were discussed in the agreement, Palestinians are barely scraping by and waiting for Rafah and other areas. According to Philippe Lazzarini, the High Commissioner of the United Nations Relief and Work Agency for Palestinian Refugees in the Near East, the entirety of the population in Gaza, about 2.1 million inhabitants, need humanitarian aid. Famine has been declared according to the UN, and about 170,000 tons of food, medication and other humanitarian aid tools are all held up with the Zionist entity stonewalling all of the so-called decisions from the last agreement. UNRWA issued a follow-up reminder for the 1,000th time to let the UN agencies do their work properly in the Gaza Strip and to stop the aid block that has been taking place since March 2nd in both Jordan and Egypt. UN agencies have stated on their social media platforms that only UNRWA can provide the vital aid that is much needed in Gaza. That is an understatement given the current food crisis that is taking the lives of thousands, including women and children. On the 22nd of last August, the UN officially declared a state of famine in Palestine. Human rights organizations keep on demanding urgent access of all aid, specifically food and water, as well as medical equipment to help a healthcare system that was completely destroyed by the Zionist entity. The one thing to remember is that this war and its consequences didn't only touch Gaza, but Palestine as a whole.
In France's political crisis, Sébastien Lecornu likely saved his government by announcing the suspension of the 2023 pension reform until the 2027 presidential election, the key condition for the Socialist Party not to back a censure motion. Details with Najah Tiyar.
Facing mounting political turmoil, the Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu moved swiftly to defuse the crisis threatening his government. In the opening moments of his policy address, he firmly declared that a regime crisis will not take place, seeking to prove he had heard the nation, and especially the socialists whose support is vital to his survival. He announced the suspension of the 2023 pension reform until the 2027 presidential election. I will propose to Parliament as early as this autumn that we suspend the 2023 pension reform until the presidential election. No increase in the retirement age will take effect from now until January 2028, as precisely requested by the CFDT. The long hesitant socialist deputies broke into applause as one sentence and a single gesture brought the entire assembly to a standstill.
Dans ce moment grave,
At this grave moment, the socialist deputies and their allies have decided not to deliver their fight here in the chamber. Theirs to still believe that between the Republican forces is possible and can change lives. On the left benches, reactions splintered. The Communist Party hailed a first victory, while others, more defiant, urged the socialists to back the motion of censure.
Il ne faut pas du tout
We must not at all be naive about the ambitions of the Macronism to buy a little time in order to finally try to impose a regressive project on our pensions. So the suspension was necessary to try to avoid being immediately censored. But let us be absolutely clear about the nature of the political project carried by this Prime Minister. That is why, for me, there is no doubt about the censor. On the right, Bruno Retailleau, furious, accused the government of surrendering to the socialists and steering France toward financial disaster, while the Nation Rally denounced a bot coalition. In contrast, Laurent Wauquiez vowed his group would spare the government, invoking the need for institutional stability. We commit ourselves, aware of the necessary compromises, so that essential laws can be adopted. We define this position collectively with our deputies and senators. We do not censor a government before judging its action, and we will not be among those who bring down the prime ministers.
Et nous ne ferons pas partie de ceux qui feront tomber les premiers ministres.
Amid the turmoil, the Dress pledged to end the Article 49.3, impose an exceptional tax on large fortunes and launch a new wave of decentralization. The PS now appears ready to grant Le Cornu a reprieve and oppose censor, a brief breath of stability for a government still struggling to prove its worth. He may have won time, perhaps even a truce, but not yet the trust of a nation watching him, as one watches a late train, weary and without illusion.
And in Morocco, social injustice remains a major challenge. A large category of the population lives in precarious conditions, a situation that fuels anger particularly among young people united through the Gen Z 212 movement. They are demanding decent public services and a real fight against corruption. Details with Daniel Bahri.
Whenever people protest against their poor living conditions, they are quickly silenced and beaten by the police. In Morocco, whether it's a small village or big city, the Marsan's answer is always the same. People take to the streets asking for dignity, jobs and a better life. But all they receive is violence and fear.
These demonstrations are peaceful, completely peaceful, yet they are crushed with shocking violence, sparking anger and despair among the young people.
It's a cry from the heart, a generation refusing to stay silent as the Marsan crushes their freedom and dignity.
My wife gave birth in winter. The baby didn't survive. I carried her for 3 kilometers on my shoulders, trying to reach help.
Life here is unbearable. No schools, no doctors, no roads, not even clean water. We protested again and again, but nobody listens.
What is happening today in Morocco streets is not just an outburst of anger. It's the reflection of deep suffering, a collapsing economy, and injustice against ordinary citizens who dare to speak up.
We are the forgotten ones, without homes, without security, and without dignity.
With more than 210,000 members, the Gen Z 212 collective, a movement demanding reforms in health and education and denouncing corruption, is calling for peaceful sit-ins next Saturday across Morocco. They urge everyone to keep mobilizing until their voices are heard and all prisoners of conscience are freed.
And with this, we come to the end of our edition. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Have a good night.